In the Premier League, last weekend we got one score correct. Man City winning on Monday night 3-1 against Brentford. Very dominant performance. A Phil Foden hat-trick separated the sides. Very strong performance from him. And there were some shocks in this round, but I think some of my predictions were maybe a little strange. Like Arsenal-Liverpool, I wouldn't normally back Liverpool to win, especially away in a big game like that, and I went for it. Luton-Newcastle, I put 2-2. It was 2-2 at half time and it ended 4-4, so plenty of goals in that one. And Wolves absolutely demolishing Chelsea. There were some strange score lines, but Wolves were in very good form, by the way, so they thoroughly deserve that. But let's get into these predictions. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we start off with a big game on Saturday morning. Man City face Everton on Saturday morning. This is the big one because Man City, if they win, can momentarily go top of the league, and I do think it will only be for a few hours. And Everton are now sitting in the relegation zone, so they really need to pick up some form. Everton drew their last game with Spurs, a very good point to be getting, but I'm not convinced that they're going to get anything from this. Man City at home is always a tough task, and I just think the Etihad is going to be behind Man City and they're going to get a comfortable 3-0 win. Fulham take on Bournemouth, and these two sides are only separated by 1 point. However, I've got a feeling by the end of the season, one will be very comfortably clear of the relegation zone and the other will have been in a pretty tough battle. Fulham are the side I'm not so confident on, as their last two matches have both been draws, but against Burnley and Everton, who are both in the bottom three. Fulham don't pick up too many wins, and I've got a feeling that not winning the games like Burnley and Everton, I'm pretty sure they drew with Sheffield United as well, will kind of come back to bite them, because they're going to have a lot of tough fixtures coming up. And there's a few sides below them that I think overall are a bit stronger than them, which could make them dip closer to that relegation zone. Bournemouth have been brilliant under Iraola since something clicked. They went on a great run. They've lost a couple in there now, but they're looking like a very good side. They're pretty exciting. They've got some great players, and I've got a feeling they're going to nick this one. So I will go for the Cherries to win 2-1. Liverpool face Burnley next. Liverpool, they obviously lost their second league game against Arsenal 3-1. They could have went 8 points ahead of Arsenal, but instead it's only a 2-point gap to them. Man City can overtake them this weekend before Liverpool even play, so it was a tough loss for them to take. They didn't turn up in that game. The other loss was also against the North London side in Spurs, so they're not a big fan of playing North London sides this season. But I've got a lot of faith in them here because Burnley have picked up 2 points in their last 3 games, which is pretty good by their own standards this season, but they're not looking great. They're looking pretty nailed on for relegation along with Sheffield United. So to be honest with you, I'm trying to think of a number between 2 and 5. So I will go for Liverpool to win 3-1. Now, despite the next two sides both coming up this season, one side are looking a lot stronger than the other. Luton face Sheffield United. Luton were the side that came up through the playoffs. Sheffield United were second place. Yet there seems like such a gulfing class between the two of them. Luton have only lost one of their last 6 league games, drawing 2 and winning 3. Their last 2 league games have been a 4-0 win against Brighton and a 4-4 draw against Newcastle, so they are full of goals, very strong in attack. Elijah Adebayo and Carlton Morris leading the line are doing a very good job, and I've got a feeling that Luton will manage to survive. On the other hand, you've got Sheffield United. 2 wins so far this season, only picked up 10 points, already looking dead and buried. So for me, I'm going to go Luton to get all 3 points, winning it 2-1. Spurs against Brighton should be entertaining. Spurs have only lost one of their last 8 league games, and that was the reverse of this fixture, which Brighton won 4-2. Brighton, you never know which side are going to turn up. They've went in a week from losing 4-0 to Luton to beating rivals Crystal Palace 4-1. There always seems to be goals in their games, although they have had a few 0-0s recently, so I guess that's not correct. But it's either lots of goals or nothing at all. So I'm hoping there's going to be at least 3 goals in this one, but I can't really separate the sides, so I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. Wolves face Brentford next, and Wolves have been in brilliant form recently, seeing them climb into the top half of the table, and they're actually only 6 points off 6th placed Man United, so great from Wolves, a brilliant 4-2 win last time out. Cunha and Neto are absolutely killing it at the moment, so many goals between those two, and they're looking very, very strong. Brentford, since Ivan Toney has returned, there have been 3 games, and in each game they either scored or conceded 3 goals. Started with a 3-2 win, but since then a 3-2 loss and a 3-1 loss. Not great reading, however the 2 losses were against Spurs and Man City, so maybe I'm being harsh, but I'm going to go for Wolves to win 3-1. Forest take on Newcastle in Saturday's late game. Now Forest, under Nuno Espirito Santo, have been okay. They started strong, they dipped off a little bit, but a couple of draws in there recently. They're doing okay. Newcastle, they had lost 4 league games in a row, then went to Villa Park and beat an undefeated Villa at home, so a very strong away performance from Newcastle, and then conceded 4 against Luton in a 4-4 draw. So similar to Brighton, you don't really know which Newcastle side will turn up, but I've got a feeling that they might just nick it, but I'm not sure. So for that reason, this is going to be my first kind of, I guess, safe, although maybe it's a bit against what you'd expect. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. West Ham take on Arsenal next. West Ham, no league wins in 4, so they are struggling, 3 draws and a loss. They built themselves up so well, got up to 6th place, but look like they might be heading slowly downwards. But if they can get some of their players back fit, mainly Lucas Paqueta, then who knows where they could end up. Arsenal, 3 league wins in a row. The latest was that 3-1 against Liverpool. Takes them to within 2 points of the top spot. I'm sure that Liverpool and Man City will win this weekend, so this one's more about keeping up with them. But Arsenal, I kind of wrote them off before that Liverpool game. I expected Liverpool to win, and I thought then Arsenal, 8 points adrift, would be out of the title race. But now Arsenal are firmly back in it. I still think it's Man City's to lose, but who knows what could happen. For this one, I think Arsenal will keep up and win it 2-1. Villa face Man U in Sunday's late game, and this should be a cracker. Last time these two faced, not so long back, Villa were 2-0 up at half time, but Man United came out of the traps, and it was the best half of football I'd seen so far this season from Man United. They turned it around and won 3-2. Villa haven't been in great form compared to what they've been in this season. Their last 5 games, it's been 2 wins, a draw and 2 losses. One of those losses was against Man U, the other was a 3-1 loss at home to Newcastle, their first home loss of the season. And now they're looking to follow up and go back to winning ways at Villa Park. Man United, been in much better form than the rest of the season really recently. A good 3-0 win against West Ham, very comfortable that one was. And before that, a crazy 4-3 win against Wolves. they're looking a lot stronger than they did at the start of the season. So for this, I'll go for some goals. Villa, not to get full revenge, but get a point. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. Two sides struggling round off our match week. It's Palace against Chelsea. Now Palace, there's only two questions about them going into every game now. Is Eze fit? Is Elise fit? If the answer to both of those is no, I'd fancy them to lose to anyone in this league, because honestly, they are so poor when those two don't play. They're so reliant on them. They really run the show. They get all the goals pretty much. So Palace, a slight concern. If they can't keep those two fit much for the rest of the season, they're definitely in a relegation battle. Chelsea, on the other hand, not doing so well. 2 losses in a row. They're not looking great, Chelsea. They lost 4-1 to Liverpool, 4-2 against Wolves. I just don't know what's wrong with them. They've invested a lot of money, but they can't, for some reason, manage to pick up wins. They're now in the bottom half of the league, with Wolves leapfrogging them last weekend. I do fear for Chelsea, but Eze and Elise didn't start last game. I believe Eze wasn't there and Elise was on the bench, but he wasn't fully fit. So I'm going to go with the fact that I don't think both of them will play, which means Chelsea win. I'll go for them to win it 2-1. So those are my predictions for these Premier League fixtures. Make sure to like and subscribe. Hopefully the fixtures are entertaining. And there's a lot of tight scenarios. The title race, the relegation battle, what's going to happen this weekend. Hopefully it's a good one.